你好，我是小兵，这是我的男朋友，他是王爷。
喂。
What？ 你好，我是小兵，他是我的男朋友员。Okay, start again. Okay.
Are we good?
Yeah. 你好，我是小兵，他是我的朋友，他是王爷，他教我的中文，他老边我喜欢中文，因为我喜欢这个吃的，and I like the food. 中文很难。Okay, so overall China, I have really mixed feelings about it because I love the culture. It is so different from Canada, but I just don't like China in a way that is incredibly filthy. It is so gross. Like the smog, the children pooping and pissing on the street. Like, it's socially acceptable, and it blew my mind. I remember one time I was in a restaurant eating my noodles, chilling, and then all of a sudden like little kids running around, and I look up and he whips out his little dick and he starts pissing. And he's making eye contact with me the whole time. I'm like, well, what the hell? I just want noodles. And then so after the child does his thing, the parents come out, instead of like disciplining him like you probably see in Canada, they just get like shoo him away and then get a broom and start like coating the floor with his piss. I mean, I don't know, but I found it incredibly humorous. But at the same time, it's like, man, it's gross. But or else like you'll be walking, you'll see little like shit piles. So I didn't really like that. In Taiwan, you didn't really see that. I like Taiwan. For that fact, but I liked comparison to Taiwan and China. I liked China because it was a bit more mystical. There were so many people doing their own thing. Like you go at nightlife, it was awesome. You can buy anything at any time of the day. In Taiwan, you can kind of do that, but because it's bigger and there's a bit more variety of different kinds of people, it makes it a bit more interesting. In Taiwan, like everyone kind of speaks English, so it's not that difficult to communicate, or there's not that much adventure when it comes to that. In China, you gotta like work for it to be understood. You have that challenge with you, and I mean you still have that in Taiwan too, but China is way bigger. But I like Taiwan because it still had this kind of like moral backbone. Not moral backbone, that kind of sounds a bit harsh, but it still had a bit traditional culture. Harsh. So, yeah, Taiwan, they still had their religious basis. Not that I'm religious, but is that they still had this exchange of information from one generation to the next. In China, it seemed like it was kind of lost. Like the parents were still in this like 90s, 80s mode of business and all that. But you can also see the kids. Like whenever I talk to somebody around my age, they felt that something was missing. Like they wanted their grandparents back, figuratively speaking. They wanted this like they knew that there's a big part of them gone, and they don't know how to claim it back. But they're also wanting this modernization that I don't know is appealing to us. It's really appealing, but there's a lot of shit that comes with it. Like, you just adopt Western views and all that crap. And I personally am disgusted by that. You see, like, you'd be walking the mall and then you'll see this, like, Western white girl with, like, incredibly gorgeous and, like, and you sit back and watch people pass by and just everybody kind of, not everybody, there's a big portion of people who thought this was the correct way to be. It's disgusting. Or like, because traditional stuff is more of a market than an actual thing. Like, that's how it seemed like how you drew people. Like, oh look, we still have this thing that you lost, this really part of you that you don't understand, and we're going to sell it to you. That's how we're going to give you this tradition back. So, I don't know, in that way. That's why I kind of like hated China for, but then I also found it incredibly interesting because it showed us what Western people do all the time. They think that, I don't know, it's just annoying how these standards that nobody can actually meet. You see all of this, they're being as white as possible. Chinese people seem that they're afraid of the sun, or like they want to be, or they'll have this bleaching cream or like some crap like that, and it's just fucking retarded. I mean, we're not that great. It is amazing in Canada. We like to tan, we like to have this darker skin, but in China it's like, oh well, you're lower class if you work in the fields or you get sun or some crap like that. So I don't know, that's one thing that bothered me. Also the homeless people there, it was so demeaning what they did to them. I mean, you'll see people with tumors on with half face, or like no legs, or incredibly hunchback. Like, you know they're suffering big time, but there's no support for them. There's no opportunities to get them off the street. That's like their commodity. They make money. And I've heard stories where like, not a pimp, but like people who own these people, they make them look, they either deform them, they put them on the street, and they collect money out of their pity, and then you give them money because they feel bad, but then you'll hear people say don't give them money because they make more money than you do, you know, so, but all that money goes to their owner or whatever. It's disgusting, and I know that happens everywhere, the sex trade or like whatever, but I don't know. That pretty much like put me in a very pessimistic mood when I came back. It was a really sobering feeling, like knowing that there's so much crap out there, and I got so good. I mean, I can work a part-time job and I can travel. I live with my parents, I don't have a car, but my God, I still can function in this society. And I mean, if you don't like make it in China, if you don't, like you're saying, if you don't have a university degree, or if you don't do that stuff, I mean, oh yeah, sorry. Then you can't, you're a failure. If you don't have 90s, you're a failure. Or like this whole materialization. I mean, like, I found it interesting because like the Chinese tourists, those are the ones who like bought the biggest crap in the world, like these little like, I don't know, these toys that like break when you open them up, or just like crap. And it's like, why would you buy this shit? I don't understand it. But then you get tourists like travelers who don't want to get that crap, and I just found it weird because it seemed like it was for, the white people or blah blah blah, and I hate using that term, but you always felt that you weren't part of that society at all. You always felt that you're just a commodity, that they just want to use you. They think that you're billionaires or something. No, that is not right. No, I'm not rich whatsoever, but just because this built up idea, and that Westerners are incredibly rich, and I mean, fair enough, there's a lot of rich Westerners that come there, so I mean, I can't blame them, but I don't know. China's really fucked up, but I love China was really fucked up, yeah. But that's what I kind of liked it for that reason, though. It was so fucked up that it was like they put a person's values is nothing. Like, there's so many people, like, even the traffic was bizarre. Like, you felt like you were going, that's how I would die, right there. Walking across a bloody street and some, like, I don't know, motorist hitting me. That's how, every time you actually, like, think about life, it's like, man, I might die right now, but it's all good. It'll be fine. I lived an okay life. Okay. So it really made you think about life. Or like, what was I talking about? I don't know. Oh yeah, the value of life thing. It's really nothing. And there's so many people, it just makes you realize how pathetic you are in this life. It's just like, I'm worth literally nothing. It's just this whole idea that I pretend that I'm something. Taiwan is its own country. I'm so convinced with this. I don't care about the politics or crap, but I mean, it has its own feel, it has its own vibe, it has its own, like, its own thing. It's like saying, if there was a controversy between Canada and America, and if you went to either places, I mean, okay, so I was in Xi'an, I was reading my Chinese book, and then all of a sudden this guy comes up, and he's Chinese, but he has the weirdest accent. He speaks Swedish, he's living in Sweden for a bit, English and Chinese, so it was all those mixed into his English, and it was weird. Anyway, but so we started talking, blah, blah, blah. And I mentioned earlier I was going for coffee by myself. But he came along regardless. And so we're having coffee, and he was like, talking about his things that he accomplished in life, like, yeah, I get a car, and like, I've been in Sweden, and I'm doing like digital technology crap, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, it's great. And so, what else? He was talking about my father, like, oh, apparently he was a bus driver too, and he's like, maybe when I meet your dad and all that, I'm like, what? You're not meeting my dad. This is great. But anyway, so after a while, he comes up, and he's like texting and all that, and then after that we started talking again, and like halfway through our coffee, guess who shows up? His mother. And like, she was so proud of him. Like, you could see the happiness in his eyes, and in her eyes, and it was like, what the fuck? And so like, we shook hands. She didn't like sit down to have coffee, but it was more like, look, Mom, I got a foreigner. It's like, yeah, but it is, I don't know. And then she left, and then he kept on talking, and I just thought it was really weird.